5 minutes or 5 questions?
5 minutes.
5 minutes, okay.
Mine is quick. I am Dan Busak. I'm a U.S. Army veteran, 1964, 1967. I thought you had a great idea. You proposed no budget, no pay.
Yes, sir.
What happened?
It's still working its way through committee. As you probably know, the rhetoric has reached a crescendo now that the presidential tickets have been solidified. We are working in our districts for the whole month of August. When I left, it was still working its way through the process. You will see more. Paul Ryan, the vice presidential pick, he put together 2 budget proposals that would balance the federal budget. Governor Romney has committed to balancing the federal budget. So I think you're going to see a renewed interest in that kind of thing. I am not optimistic that Harry Reid is going to want to talk about no budget, no pay, because it will directly affect him because he has no intentions of passing a budget. So it's going to take some change in leadership in Washington to get that done. But it's getting, I can tell you that it's talked about a lot in Washington. It's a good idea. I think the American people have a reasonable expectation that their elected representatives and senators go to Washington to represent the needs and the concerns of the people and to follow the Constitution. And the Constitution says we're a nation that's ruled, we have a rule of law that's embedded in the Constitution. And if the Constitution says that they should produce a budget by April 15th, then they ought to produce a budget by April 15th or they shouldn't get paid. And I'll stand firmly on that. Thank you for bringing that up.
I got a question here. You know what? I'm on the Veterans Board here. And what gets me upset is when guys say, well, I can't get this. You know, a veteran's a veteran. When he enters the service until he gets out. And there's so much discrimination against, you wasn't in this campaign, you wasn't in there. You know, it takes, what, 30-some veterans to put one on the front line. Something like that. Now, this poor guy don't get anything, but he still put stuff into the system to help this guy on the front line so he can get bullets, he can get all the food. But then there's so much discrimination. Well, I wasn't in at this time. I wasn't in at that time. And I wasn't in this conflict, or I wasn't there. And then they get me, my fault. You know, no, you know, we have laws to go by. You know, a veteran, when they go out to fill out their pension or go out to get help, the first thing they get is how much do you make? Yeah. And a lot of them won't fill it out.
Yeah.
A veteran's a veteran from day one till he gets out. So us treat everybody the same, but we don't. You guys know that.
Yeah. I think we have a big problem with that issue. We've addressed it in some of our congressional hearings, and it's an issue that's going to have to continue to get some focus. I don't know how they make the determination. I know that when our young men and women sign on the dotted line, they don't, from the time they sign on, they don't always have a choice from there on what job they're going to get or what duty assignment they're going to get, because they serve at the bequest of the American people where the need is. And so a lot of that has nothing to do with their own personal decisions. It's what the service that they join puts them to. And I think it's unfair to take support people and put them in a different category than others. It's an ongoing problem. I appreciate your thoughts. We had this lady.
I just have a concern about the length of time it takes a claim to get through the VA system.
So
I can understand certain claims that would be delayed because you have to check and see if they were injured in their service. But we've had a veteran who did 2 tours in the Marine Corps in Vietnam. In country, well documented, awards. He filed a claim in March of 2011. He wasn't scheduled for a physical more information with his claim. He wasn't scheduled for his physical until July 29th, or July 25th of this year. He died the 29th. His funeral's right there.
Let
her finish. I'm sorry.
It's a diabetes claim. It should have been on there.
Wow, I'd like to get some details on that example. Because that's exactly the kind of frustration that I'm in. No, that's all right. That's all right. You don't have to be ashamed of that at all.
I will come back on that.
I'm sorry?
I'll come back on it. That veteran that you're talking about, we buried him yesterday. In Bellaire because he didn't have no money. He grew up in a children's home. Never had no parents. When he got out of children's home, he went into the Marines. He went to Vietnam. Her two teams in Vietnam. One before the big build-up and one after the big build-up. Then when he got out of the Army, he started driving trucks. Okay? He drove this truck until he had to get his license renewed, and they wouldn't renew his license because he had Agent Orange in Vietnam. So he applied with the VA to get this done. Now that thing was set up there all this time, and the VA had done nothing, absolutely nothing. Now he's gone, and he's got no family, so they're not going to pay nothing. And that's wrong.
That's wrong.
That's wrong. And we paid, this Belmont County paid to bury that man.
He didn't have a military funeral?
But we
Look.
They have cremated.
But
He was cremated because of money.
he had no money, so and he couldn't work anymore as a truck driver because he had diabetes, you know. Now the VA's had that up there for over a year, you know, like she said. That's wrong. That is wrong, and the VA is responsible for it.
let's, can we get some information on that case too?
Now, I want to tell you something else. I've had a claim up with the VA for over 2 years. I still ain't got an answer.
You want us to look into it?
No.
Stay out of the way!
You looked into it before, and I still ain't got an answer.
We looked into it
Yes,
before?
you did.
Okay. Who looked into it? Why don't we have an answer?
It's still pending up there.
Well, then I need to know about those when we're getting when we got issues sitting out there that long. If we're not getting a turnaround from the VA, then that's when I need to know.
It's on appeal.
You'll get an answer. You'll get an answer.
The VFW in Cleveland, they even got my folders and took it down to the VA, and it's still sitting down there for over 2 months. They ain't done nothing.
Okay. All right. You've got my commitment. You guys got that? Get a name, get a contact. Every week, I want an update on his case. Okay. Anybody else? Thanks, folks.
Thank you.
Tell you what, you got an office you want to go to? Do you have an office in here?
Hey, Fred, I heard you talk to a friend of mine. A friend of mine, my brother. Because I just passed these troubles.
Back. Now